Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm just getting down to the shop. Can you imagine? Well, ever since I was working nights for so long, it really threw my schedule off, you know. I should move to Australia. I guess Australia, it's about 5 p.m. I think over there. I would be right on the money there. I'd be able to sleep at night. But now I don't get to sleep till sometimes 7 in the morning. It's crazy. Anyway, couple things we want to do today. First of all, I've been having a knife that I've been putting off for a while. I just want to clean it up because it sits next to my my table upstairs. I look at it and I say, I got to get to this. Webster Marble. You might not know the name, but he came here back in about 1890. He came over to Gladstone, Michigan, and he started a marbles manufacturing company, and he started making gun sights and outdoor equipment match cases and knives. And he made some interesting knives. He made and axes, safety knives, a safety axe, and the knife we're going to look at today. Now, the nice thing, I personally have always liked marble knives, and especially the early ones. You know, a ton of these were made around 1916. A lot of them are dated for there. But you can see here it says marbles, and this is Gladstone, Michigan. And it has the typical thumb grooves back here. It has the upswept blade. Just a nice, you know, this is a classic design here. This is a maker's, whoever owned this, owner's mark, put that in there. And I'll leave that in. But I just want to clean up the blade. I don't want to do any real reprofiling. The tip was a little bit damaged here, you could see. There we go. You can see the tip is a little damaged, and the back, you see it's a little loose back here. Now this is a threaded stud, and that's a brass nut in there. When you tighten that down, that'll tighten this up. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is see if that moves and if we can tighten it down, and then we'll just clean it up, take a look at what it looks like. Now somebody sharpened it here. Obviously, you know, whoever sharpened it, it's a sharp knife, but whoever was sharpening it, you know, used some kind of sharpener that, you know, left some scratches. I'm not a purist. I love to use knives, and I just enjoy the way they look. So let's get working. Okay, to start off with now, you can see here the back here. It looks like somebody's been trying to get in there or whatever, maybe to tighten it up, because this cap is very loose, you know. So, but one thing we're going to do is, it won't tighten up anymore. So I'm thinking that if we take this cap out, we can address this cap, square off those things. Now, there is a special tool for that. Unfortunately, I don't have it. So what I use is needle nose pliers, and you have to make sure that when you're using the pliers like this, because this is brass, you don't want to mangle up that nut, but you have to push it very hard into here and work it very slowly back and forth. Now, sometimes this threaded area is peened over. So I'm going to put a little 50-50 acetone ATF on there, my penetrating oil mix, work it out, and then work this nut out. And then we can address the nut, and it's also easy to address this this pommel that way. Okay, now using the pliers, you know, that's, again, not the preferred way, but this was already bugged up. We're going to fix this all up. We'll take out the screw here. You can see this is the screw, the retaining screw. And now here's the cap here, the end cap. And you can see that we'll be able to clean this up real nice now. But these are the spacers and things like that. We'll clean up in between. But you see how these come apart. Now, if you do want to do any cleaning in between any of these or anything, you have to make sure you keep them in the same order so that it don't. But you can see here the threads. Okay, the threads go down to here. Now, I don't know if that's bottoming out in this cap, so we'll take a look and see if we can measure that thread and see if it's a common thread. Maybe we can run a die down a little bit further and see if we can get down further on there. Okay, believe me, I did not want to go this far on the knife. I just came down to do a quick cleanup, and like everything else, you get kind of carried away. All right, so here's the handle parts. And again, I got to reiterate, you must keep this in the same orientation that it comes off, because if you even flip one of those discs around, it's going to pop out and look uneven. So this is all the way they came off. You can see I have the orientation. I drew a knife here so I remember. And here's the cap. Now, I took my thread checker, and this is a 10/32 nut. So I should have a die if I wanted to take this and screw it down. See, what I think is happening is, over the years, these are leather, okay? and I think they compress a little bit. And what happens is when they compress, this nut bottoms out on these threads here. You see the threads that don't, it bottoms out, and what happens is it can't screw down anymore, and because of that it loosens up. So I can either try and thread this down a little bit more, just another 1/8 of an inch, or I could put another spacer in here somehow, but I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to look at the die. I think that's a better way. Just have it screwed down just a little bit more to take up for the compression. Okay, using this sweet little die. Isn't this a sweet little die handle? Yeah, use this and a nice 10/32 die here. And you got to remember that the dies, they're usually made to go on one way. One way will be a little bit flared out, like this is the starting side. And so this side butts up against the shoulder here so it don't push through. So we use that, and we put on another 1/8 of an inch of threading on here. Cleaned up the threads, looks real nice. Now it's all ready, and also it's a good idea to put some tape over here if the blade is sharp, if you're not used to handling it. Now we're going to have to work with that end nut. Now here's that end nut, okay? It's just a little bit mangled. It's not bad. We're going to clean it up nice. You know, again, I used the wrong tool. I hate to even show that, but I used this to get in here to take it out. But we're going to make a tool to put it back on. Once we clean up them threads, I'm just going to make a tool, and this way we can screw that back on using the proper tool. But right now we're going to clean up the threads on. You can see here it's brass and it gets a little buggered up. Now in order to do that, I took a 10/32 a regular screw, and I put it into a block of wood, and I'm going to screw this on here so I could put it into the vise, so I don't have to vise and clamp on here, and then I could file it that way. Okay, we fixed up the back of that. Now you see that? Widen it up a little bit to take out all that gunk, but you see that? Now we're going to make a tool to fit that. Out of this piece of steel stock, we'll just file it down. We'll make a little slit in the middle and make a little tool. And this way I don't have to bugger it up with some needle nose. Okay, here's the tool we made to insert that back on. Now, this took all of 15 minutes to make. You drill a hole, you file it out, you get the proportions right, so when it fits in there, you see how that fits? Fits nice. And we could turn that on, and when it gets a little torquey, I can just put a pair of vice grips on the end here and use it that way, so I don't have to. But this is the tool we'll use, and let's see if we can get it back together after we clean it up. Okay, here we have it's a quick cleanup here, and took away the scratches from the blade and did the pommel up nice. Everything looks good. Now you can see it's still a little bit loose here because we didn't do the full tightening. Now we're going to take our tool, and you see why I had to make the tool the same size as the nut so it fits in there just nicely like this. This is exactly the way it should fit in, and how nicely that tightens up, right? Now we're tightening it up. That's hand tight. And we'll check it for tightness, and you can see that's tight. It's not moving at all. So that's real good. What I'll do is I'll back it off. I'll put a drop of medium thread locker, not the high strength one, the thread locker in there, retighten it up, and then you see how much that's sticking out. That's how much we added thread to there, and you see, because this compressed over the years. So now we'll just take a small file, and we'll file off the top of those threads so there's nothing sticking out here, making sure we don't damage the pommel, and that'll be good. I mean, it feels good. It feels nice. It's just a lovely little knife, isn't it? And you know, I'm going to reprofile it and do a real nice job when I get into my knife. I get into my knife mood, but this was just something that's sitting next to me I wanted to address. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this knife looked like before we did the quick cleanup. And we're calling this project done. Put a little leather dressing on the handle. Took care of that file. It's still up a hair But I don't know if I'm going to peen that over or whatever, but you can see the cap came out nice. Took all the dents and things out of that cap. Put some leather dressing on the handle. Everything's nice and shined up now, and it's fairly sharp. I don't keep them, you know, razor sharp because I wind up cutting myself. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. This was a nice project. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have a nice day. Take care now. Bye-bye.